Well, good morning, everybody. And we have a bit of a different show than what we planned on doing. Good Friday kind of messed up what Allie was going to do today, but she's got some other stuff to show, and I wasn't planning on working on anything today, so I'm not in the train room. I'm at my desk. My wife's using her computer actually. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Allie and let you do your thing, Allie.
Hey guys, so you'll have to excuse me a little bit. I'm a little bit jittery because I've on my third cup of tea out of my Back on Track mug, which you can get on the Teespring store right now. So grab yours, get your favorite beverage ready to go because I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Okay? So, bad news first. As Claude, he's on that side, Claude has alluded to, I couldn't get down to the Model Railway Club rooms today because, as you know, it's Good Friday. So, I've come up with another plan. So, here comes the good news. Instead of getting one new video, you're going to get two new videos. Ooh, yes. Two new videos from me. And before we start, though, I will quickly go through our chat and say hello to everybody. Hello, Steam Fan Lover. Hello, Sheepboy256. And hello, CDP 1965.
Morning,
Good
guys.
morning,
Hey, Chuck.
very early morning. Good, very early morning to you guys. So, without further ado, I'll chuck on the first video and we'll get started. Share screen. Application window. Here we go. And share.
Let's see here. There we go. Now, is this a video, Allie?
Yes, it is a video.
Is it running on your end? Because it's, oh, there
Yes.
we go. Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you explain what we're seeing here? Hey, Allie,
Yeah.
why don't you explain what we're seeing here?
Is the sound coming through? There should already be
No, there's no
sound.
video sound at all.
Oh.
I don't know why, but it's not coming through.
Well, that's disappointing. That's going to be confusing.
So you just got dead air.
Sorry, Claude?
You just have dead air. All we've got is a picture of looks like a storeroom.
Well, that's the workshop that the shed that the layout's in. So this is where we've joined the layout to the returns, and we've used basically that PCB board stuff, which we've just soldered to and screwed into the board.
I do something very similar on my lift up.
Yeah.
So the rails don't move on you.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
That looks Australian. I don't know why. I think it's the roof.
It's probably the roof because it is your typical tin roof.
Yeah.
And you got your awning as well, or your eaves.
Yeah, I think it's the awning and the roof being on the same slope. I've seen that before. Hey, Sparky, good to see you this morning. Allie's showing a video, but we're not getting any sound through, so she's describing some of it.
Yeah, I'm getting the sound at my end, so that's why I'm a bit curious why it's not coming through.
I have no idea. Let me look on here. I don't think. Yeah, see, because I'm getting you, but I have no sound. No way to.
Because this has got a whole description playing over.
Yeah, see, I have no way of changing the sound on that video.
Let me try and let's move that out of the way. Oh no, get rid of that. So these are just basically low relief houses that have been built up for this layout. Because how skinny this layout is, we don't have a lot of space for buildings, so we've had to make them sort of low relief up against the skyboard there. And they're a combination of card and styrene stock.
I like that fence.
It is a nice fence. It's done by Greg Aitken. He did a very good job on that.
So is this HO scale or S scale?
S scale.
S scale.
As you can tell, we use HO track, which is just your standard Pico code 100. Well, the track in front of us is actually ON 30 track, which we cut down the sleepers for. Well, no, is it ON 30?
Yeah, that would be HO.
The 16.5 one.
That'd be the same gauge as HO, yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Nancy.
Good morning, Nancy.
So you're looking at East Street there, which is now the Great Eastern Highway. In that first photo I showed you with the Gatannery and the crossover, there was a level crossing in the foreground there. That's the same street. It's a 4-lane road now, but here it's only 2 lanes.
What did you all make the your asphalt out of?
That is a combination of, I think it's tile grout and plaster or something like that, I think.
Okay.
That was done by Trevor Burke. He did a lot of the weeds and the grass that you'll see later on. And I think he made some of those trees. I'm not sure.
Well, I used the same technique that what's his name over on What's Neat This Week. He did it with concrete patch material, ready mixed concrete patch, vinyl concrete patch.
Yeah.
And put that on, showed how to put it on, and then I stained mine with that creosote stain, and it looks just like blacktop.
The biggest pain in the backside is drilling through it. If you need to put fence posts in, it is painful to drill through.
Oh, well, see, and that's the thing about this stuff. If you had to pull it up, you could take a putty knife and pull it off of the layout. So you could drill through it fairly easy also. It doesn't get hard. It's a vinyl. I mean, it gets good and firm, but it doesn't get super rock hard, so it's pretty easy to drill through if you had to.
Mm. What's Sparky on about when he says Ken Patterson?
Ken Patterson's the one that did the video on how to do that blacktop with the concrete patch. And it's a really good, it was one segment on one of his shows. And I don't even know what segment it was. It was a back episode a few years ago. And I happened to, I was searching some stuff on how to make them. And his popped up and I watched it and I thought, that's a good idea. And it works really well. So if you're wanting to do a blacktop look on your layout, look that up and do it that way.
I think a similar thing is done for the ground cover as well, because that's pretty much gone straight onto the plywood. It's
well, I know a lot of people use tile grout in their base scenery, and it does get hard. I mean, grout gets hard and brittle is the only bad thing about it. So if you got to drill through it, it wants to crack.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck saw the episode. Yeah, it was really informative and looked really good when he got done. Of course, he did a much fancier road than what I've done on mine, but you could make it as nice as you want out of that stuff.
You just keep smoothing it, right? If you want to make it smoother.
Yeah, you just wet it. Just take some spray and spray the top of it, and it'll get wet on top. And you just take your knife and spread it up, smooth it. You can get a really nice looking, fancy kind of highway out of it if you really wanted to work it that much. I wasn't after that look, so I didn't do that. But I left the cracks in mine because it looks like cracks in asphalt and all that stuff. So it looks really good.
Well, you and I are modeling earlier periods, so
yeah,
roads weren't that flash back then. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Mr. Arnold.
Have you got comments turned on for this, Claude?
Comments for
the video.
For afterward?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me look here. I never even messed with the YouTube part of it.
Okay.
The chat's on.
Well, yeah, the chat's definitely on.
I was just wondering about the... I'll have to go in here and look. I don't know that I can do anything while it's on.
So this is a Midland Railways F-Class. In 1964, the Midland Railway Company was acquired by the West Australian Government Railways, and they inherited their F-class and G-class English electric diesel locomotives, which were regularly used on this route. And the train behind this F-class is a sleeper train, or timber train, and there's a timber mill basically where that piece of paper is in the back corner. So that's what that train would have been here for. There's the timber mill building. And there's a little M-class 444 tank locomotive hauling a suburban train. Leaving Perth would have been in that direction, and this is coming out towards Midland. So here's the videos now. So hopefully the sound will come back through these.
Nope, still no sound.
There's no sound on that one, but this one should have sound.
Nope.
That's frustrating. There's a nice little English electric burble coming through.
Looks like you got a hot box on that one coach.
There's some rocking and rolling on some of these coaches.
That one, there was one right there in the middle of the train was really getting it.
This is my PM that I put sound in, and it's supposed to be making nice hissing sounds, and I can hear it at my end, and it sounds nice, but I'm so frustrated you guys can't hear that. It's making a nice, slow, chuff sound. So anyway, we were doing a lot of heavy testing on this layout to make sure electrically it runs fine, and all our locos will actually run on it. We're not going to have any derailments or anything like that. My biggest issue was that double slip that's right there, but every now and again it does derail, especially when I'm not looking at it.
Oh, of course, that's when it always goes off. So you should turn your back on it. Yeah, double slips are tough on models for some reason. And the only thing I can think of is that they're usually not heavy enough to keep them down if they're trying to pick something.
I always thought it was something to do with the frogs. Hi, Leslie.
Well, it can be, but on a model, a lot of times you get a lot sharper frog than what you would normally have in real life. But it's also like in real life, you can use a spring switch, right? So you're going through off of a diverging route coming onto the main line, and the switch can be sprung for the main line. But because the train's heavy enough, it'll push the point over and go on through. You can't do that with a model because the model's not heavy enough to do that.
No, that's very true.
See, and that's what I used on mine on both ends of the loops. I had to find some way to automate those turnouts so that they would act like a spring switch, but they would actually move the points without me having to do anything.
You can get automatic reversers for that.
Well, it's not a reverser. It uses a couple of sensors, infrared sensors, and it will senses the train coming through the first time, and then it comes around, and before it comes through the switch, back through the switch, it goes to another sensor that moves the point over and aligns it properly so it can come out, and then it goes back through the original sensor, and a few seconds after it passes all the way through that, then it'll move it back to the original position. So it's not really a reversing circuit, but you know, that's how it works anyway. Hey, Leslie, good to see you.
Well, that's the end of the video anyway. There's just a little.
Well, we were talking about, Allie and I were talking about this picture right here. First, as you can see, it's a crossover, but there's also a narrow gauge transition in the middle of that crossover, and that's a lot of track work in a short space.
There's two of those along that line as well.
That's a pretty nasty little S-turn right there in that crossover. I wouldn't want to do that in a model because it would probably cause problems.
You could probably make it. Well, that's the end of that video.
Okay, let's get off of there, and then there we go.
So, just for you guys in chat, can you just confirm for me that you didn't hear any of the actual sound from the video? You only heard Claude and I chatting? Because I could hear the video at my end perfectly fine. And I know Claude can't hear it, so I'm just wondering if guys in chat watching can hear it. I'll just bring up this other video.
You're coming through very well, but I heard nothing off of the video.
Maybe if I do it this way.
Steve says no sound on the video. Chuck says no sound. So, yeah, it didn't come through.
I'm trying something different, trying to do it differently this time, see if this works.
So anyway, for the guys that came in late, Allie was going to do a tour of her club layout, which she's showing videos of. But they were closed today because of Good Friday, so we didn't think about that. And so we're doing this instead. But anyway, here, let me get this up here. Oh, you're going to have to, well, I got to add it to the stream first. Oh, there's the sound.
Okay, it worked that time. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek, guys, of a new series of videos that I'll be doing on my channel, basically of the prototype here in Western Australia, what I see today on the railway line. So I thought you guys might find that a little bit fun and look forward to seeing that later on this year.
I like the credits on there. That's good.
I had a bit of fun with that.
The link to Allie's channel is in the description, and also the link to both videos is in there. So if you want to see the other one with sound, it might have it. If you click on the link, you probably get the sound.
I'd probably play it again with the sound because
did you figure out what was wrong
that way? I think I figured out a different way of doing it. Not necessarily what was wrong the first time, but I found a different way of doing it. So I'm just going to see if we can try it again.
Well, that second one had plenty of sound.
So try that one, Claude.
Okay.
Hello, chat here. Just thought I'd throw in some quick updates on East Guildford. Here you can see there's this. This is what East Guildford actually looks like currently, with the dual gauge turnout in front of you. I thought I'd throw this photo in because we were talking about it the other week on Back on Track, and some of you guys looked a little bit confused. So anyway, here's a picture of what East Guildford looks like, and as you can see in the distance there's a platform with a bridge. That is the current East Guildford station. So that's what it looks like right now. But I'll take you through some photos now of our version, our SN 3.5 or 1:64 scale version of East Guildford, what it used to look like in the 1960s prior to the standard gauge coming through. The standard gauge being 4 foot 8.5 and the narrow gauge there being 3 foot 6 inch. So before that it was just the 3 foot 6 inch or the Cape gauge. And so here we go. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, and when the subscribe button's clicked and the bell comes up, don't forget to click that little bell to make sure you get notified of any new updates or new videos coming up so you don't miss anything, because I tend to post these things a bit sporadically and a bit randomly, so just make sure that you get that bell on so you don't miss anything new from me. So without further ado, here come the videos. Also, if you have any questions, don't forget to throw them up in the comments section or in the chat section if you're watching this live, so I can try and monitor and get those questions answered for you. Anyway, here we go. So this was a test run of our biggest locomotive and one of our biggest wagons around some newly laid track. Since then we've got the track completed all the way around, but this was just our first test run. I had to Greg, who's just working on the track there as we go around the layout here. As you can see, some of this is still yet to be ballasted. There's a couple of reference photos here. You can also see the mock-up of the flour mill, which we're still waiting on the actual model. We've got the level crossing here with a new house in the background there. Here's the actual station with the footbridge under construction. And we've also got some houses now either side of the level crossing. And as you can see, going up around here, it was a bit troubling getting around the wall here. And that's as far as we got with the track. Hi Dave, BNSF N Scale. As you can see in this shot, this is a little bit before the previous video. You can see where the track comes around here at the end of this giant hockey stick or letter J shape. And you can see here where the track hasn't been quite laid yet. You can see the boxes there to the right, which is just your standard Pico code 100. To the right of that, or actually a little bit further up, you can see the fiddle yard that we borrowed from Simon Mead. Thank you, Simon Mead, for that. And we've actually now got a full circular track, so you'll see later on in some of the videos, trains going all the way around. And as you can see, it also extends right up outside of this workshop through the doorway at the other end, which goes into the main club room. And it's only a little, sticks out just a little bit, and that's enough for the return at the other end. Hi, Schuylkill John. In this shot here, you can see the joins where we've joined our Pico track using, it's basically the same stuff as what you'd use for the Fast Tracks turnouts, where if you're looking for those PCB ties, these are just basically extended PCB ties which we've soldered to and then screwed into the edge of the board, so when the board separates and we line it back up again for travelling, that the track will always line up into the exact same spot. Fingers crossed. This is one of our little low relief buildings that is scattered around the layout. As you can see, it's only just sort of like a triangle shape instead of the whole square, because the layout itself is not exactly that wide, deliberately, because that means less scenery detail to do to get it running ready for the exhibition. Unfortunately, we're not going to have an exhibition this year, but the exhibition hopefully will go ahead next year and we'll be able to display this layout. But there's beautiful lattice work done, beautiful brick paperwork, and also those windows, which are all to correct scale. It's based on a building actually at East Guildford, and it's beautifully done by Neil Blinko. So thank you for that one, Neil. Looks absolutely gorgeous. This is a long shot from the Midland end, or the eastern end of East Guildford. The station would be behind you in this shot, or further down to the bottom of this shot. Up to the left, top left there, you can see where the road crosses the railway lines. So there's a level crossing there. You'll see an animation later on of the new level crossing lights which have recently been installed. That road is known as East Street, which is now part of the Great Eastern Highway. And the house closest to us on this side of the road is actually the old station master's house. And both of those houses are still there today. So that's how these were managed to be mocked up. And of course, they're low relief. As you can see, they've been cut in half to fit the space provided. Make sure that they don't go over the skyboard at the background there. We're now on the other side of the level crossing, or actually the level crossing would be just off this photo to the left. So you can see back down towards the station before the station buildings have been built. In front of us on the left there is again the station master's house and their backyard, associated backyard, and the main line running off into the distance on the right. And here is another angle of the station master's house and East Street, as it was known back then, and of course the main line in the foreground there. Since then we've also had Trevor, thank you Trevor Burke, for doing all the grass, and you can see there's a little bit of a worn footpath there and a bit of a dirt track to the car park, so people can park their cars and hop on the train into the city. This view again is the other side of East Street, which is there on the right hand side crossing over the railway line, and you can see the low relief house on the other side. And of course the beginnings of some of the static grass and weeds being planted. Here's another close-up view of that house with the beautiful picket fence in the front and the beautiful roof tiling that they've done. Again, this one was another one done by Neil Blinko. Thank you very much, Neil. He's done a fantastic job on this. These are all styrene and card combinations. And of course, there's some beautiful weed work done there at the front near the footpath there, or that worn away footpath. Thanks to Trevor Burke again as well. Well done, guys. In this shot here, you can see the beautiful work that Neil Blinko has done with the help of Greg Aitken, building this station building. To the left there, you can see the signal box, which was part of the station building. And centre shot there, you can actually see a set of scales, which were cast up by Neil. And of course, the chimney in the background, which is another casting done by Neil. All sort of standard WHR prototype and beautifully crafted by Neil, so well done to Neil for that. Here's another view of the railway station from underneath the footbridge. This is an ADK ADB railcar set based on the American Bud design, but built here at the Midland Workshops. These railcars served Western Australia right up until the 90s when the electrics were introduced, and they were sold to New Zealand. New Zealand recently electrified their rail lines, which now means that the ADKs and ADBs are now off onto their third life in South Africa. So again, This is another beautiful railcar set, actually done by Paul Tranter. Paul Tranter is a fantastic modeler. He also models a lot of South Australian in both HO and S-scale. So he's done a beautiful job of this 80K ADB railcar set. Here's the same shot here, but with my PM class, which I'm slowly adding sound to, or trying to get the sound files right in it. It's got a keep alive as well, but I still need to fix up the pickups to give it its best running quality. The Z brake van that it's towing actually belongs to Alex, and the locomotive itself was built by Doug. So Doug built the locomotive, I added the DCC sound to it, and it's a beautiful model. Hi Lee. And for some variety and something that's probably way out of the era of the 1960s, because the DBs didn't arrive until 1982. So here's my DB, again another beautiful model done for me by Jürgen Engel, and he's not doing any more 3D printed models, but he's still making models for people. So if you're ever interested, hit him up. He might be able to help you out as long as you've got all the bits that are required for the kit. Hi Hillbilly. This is Neil Blinko's Suburban set. This is what would have typically ran through this area at the time, led by a tank locomotive, either a DD or a DM, and of course these ASAT individual, what's known as dog box carriages. They would have run on the suburban system quite regularly throughout this period, and also right up to the end of locomotive hauled carriage sets when they introduced more rail cars to the system. In 1964, the Midland Railways of Western Australia, one of the largest private railways in Western Australia at the time, was actually integrated to the West Australian Government Railways. And through that, they acquired several diesel locomotives, including this F-class number 44, and would have regularly ran through this area, either from Midland or from Guildford to the flour mill or the timber sidings. So you can see here it's actually carrying a sleeper train. That would have been quite a regular service right up through the 80s as well, before they started taking out all the sidings along the suburban lines. Hi Randall Ellison. Here's a good shot that shows a lot of detail already coming into the layout now. You can see where the grass is actually starting to appear. The completed low relief timber mill and timber stacks, you can see on the far left there, have started to appear. And there's a beautiful shot here of a suburban train hauled by a WAGR N-Class 444 tank locomotive. Hi Dwight Curley. Now comes the fun part. As we are testing the layout for electrical conductivity and smoothness, just sit back and relax and watch these trains go by.
Pretty good.
Rattling around a bit for some reason. Work here, not well. You're better off to have it
sort of running on its own thing.
To do what? To charge it?
No, to actually send out the signals. The system that I took was the Tan Valley one.
This is much better.
Unlike the
So what do you do? You plug into the
DCC base station itself, so you can use your own booster as a booster and control system, but where you plug the tracks, where you plug in the tracks into your bus wire, instead it goes to the antenna, and then you have a receiver in every one of your locos. So it still behaves like the normal DCC. It's just that you're not relying on the rails to do your transmission.
yeah, that's it. So you're using the rails to power it.
Not even that.
You can see it doesn't like that double slip.
That's it.
You can hear the whistle's not doing too well. So there you have it, folks. That's a little bit of a taste of what the layout looks like and some updates on what's going on with the layout. Sorry I couldn't get you guys a more thorough look. This is just using archived footage that I managed to have saved up throughout the time of our construction. If you'd like to know more or try and get more detail about it, don't forget to check out the WAGR S-Scale Modelers blog. I'll send you guys a link in the description. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe and get the bell on as well. And like the video if you actually enjoyed this video. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch up with you later. Cheers and thanks for listening. Bye.
I had a question.
Yes, go.
When you're showing the trains going by there, right there toward the end, do they have sound cars on them, or are you picking that up right off the track?
No, that's picking up right off
the wheel
track.
Noise.
The clickety clack.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clickety clack is coming from the track. The diesel that came through which had the Westland headboard on it, that had its own sound. The steam locomotive had its own sound. Yeah, I think those are the only ones that had sound in them. The rest of them that's just track noise. You'll find as soon as you start ballasting your track as well, the board is going to pick up all that sound as well. It's going to be a lot quieter on the end bits where there's no ballast. But yeah, all that sound of the clickety-clack and stuff like that you would have picked up was actually from the track itself.
Okay, I couldn't tell, but it sounded pretty natural, so I assumed it was probably off the track. But I mean, I've heard of people taking like a Dremel, and putting small horizontal cuts in the top of the rail to get that to get that same effect.
All you have to
Especially
do
if
is
you
just leave. Sorry, I was
especially
just
if
going to
you
say, all
use
you have to do
steel
is leave
wheels on it.
space.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just have to leave space where your rail joiners are,
Yeah,
because you need that space anyway for expansion. It gets very, very hot, especially in that workshop. Um, I've been in there just standing still and just had sweat pouring off me because it that's what summer is like over here in Australia, especially Western Australia. So yeah, you
yeah.
do need those expansion joints. So even if you just leave those little gaps where you join your rails with your fish plates, you're going to get that nice clickety clack.
Yeah. Well, I know I get it on mine over turnouts and stuff like that because of all the gaps that I've got cut in the rails.
Mm.
But I don't have gaps in my rails at my joints, so I don't get that there. But of course, the sound car from like Soundtracks, you know, not only do you get the cattle and the sheep sound, but you also get clickety clack sound, wheel squeal, and all that stuff on it too. If you want to program it that way. So that's doable, you know, even if you don't have gaps in your track. But it does sound good. I liked it, what it sounds on there. Well, thanks for showing that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's the
Much
best I
better
could
with the
do,
sound.
unfortunately. It is much better with the sound.
Well, I don't know if
you
anybody
guys.
else has got any questions for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get down to the actual club rooms tonight like I promised. But I think that was a pretty good substitute. What do you guys think?
Dave says that clickety clack's naturally occurring with Unitrack.
That's
Yeah,
true.
for N-scale,
Unitrack does that.
Yeah, sectional track's going to do that. You're going to have a lot of joints on sectional track, but not using Unitrack. I don't get that. So I would have to do something to make it sound like that.
Well,
Which
Unitrack
I really don't want to go in and cut my rail, you know, just to get the clickety clack sound. But I have seen people do that before, and it works. But then it's also another place for it to catch dirt and everything else.
Mm. And it helps. Some of those carriages were actually six-wheel bogie carriages. So you're going to get a little bit more clickety-clack out of them than you would out of a standard four-wheel carriage. So
Yeah.
It does actually sound pretty good.
Yep. All righty. Well, I don't have anything else, guys, except to take the camera up and show you what I've been working on. But I'm going to save that for update. So
You
you don't get to see it
tomorrow.
today.
Are you doing an update tomorrow?
I will be doing an update. Probably be another week or so. I'm doing a lot of scenery stuff right now over where I didn't have any. So I told my wife yesterday, I said, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I just hope it's not an oncoming train. And she said, for the plaster work, I said, no, for the whole layout. It's making it look much more complete now. So, yeah, once I get this, I'm finishing up the scenery on the bottom level. And then once I do that, then I'll start on the top stuff.
Scenery makes a huge difference.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. But I've enclosed it so it looks completely different right now than it has in a while. But having been retired, you know, recently, then that gives me a lot more time to work on it. So I'm making some progress now. And I told my son, I said, I've got to get it finished before I can't get up there. And
so
he wanted to know if that was going to
Trackside
be
live tomorrow?
Yes, we'll have a show tomorrow.
Oh, there is a show tomorrow? Okay.
Yep. I think so. Didn't we say we're going to have a show tomorrow, Steve? I don't think we were taking off for Easter. I was planning on having one, but yeah, we'll have a show tomorrow.
Another reason to make sure you get that bell on to make sure whether or not they're actually live or not.
Yeah. Okay, Chuck says, are you going to take it all apart and start over like many people do? No, I'm not, Chuck. I have changed some stuff, you know, and most of my layout, I've got the main idea in my head, but it gets put down as I go. And so stuff has a tendency to morph a little bit from what I originally thought of doing. But that's just the way I build. I do a lot of things that way. I just do it on the fly. I need a set of ears like Allie's. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen, Sparky. Here, how about this? I'll wear my hat. How's that?
There we go.
I'll wear that.
Speaking
Nancy
of
wants a
Sparky,
set of cat ears, Allie.
Speaking of Sparky, I believe he's got the HO travelling boxcar at the moment. So that's just a little update, guys, for where that is. I don't know where the N scale one is at the moment.
I don't either.
Yeah, Nancy's right. They're kitty ears. They're cat ears. Not puppy ears. Sorry, Chuck.
Steve said that's how he builds everything. And if you haven't seen Steve's last update, you got to go see it. His caboose is looking really good, really good. I can't wait to see that stuff in person. Yes, thank you, Dave. I know it does. That's why I don't go outside without a hat on, because the sun will shine off of this onto the back of my glasses and I can't see anything. So always wear a hat outside. Leslie said he can't remember if I updated my address for the N-scale boxcar.
Just do it again, Leslie, because it'll just pop through to Shannon again, and
yeah.
He'll just make sure that you're on the list.
Chuck figured puppy ears for me. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen either, Chuck. I haven't worn puppy ears since I lost my goofy hat.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to have a hat, goofy hat. Anyway, I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for coming. We won't keep you any longer. I know it's early for everybody on the West Coast. It's really early. But anyway, thanks, Allie, for showing us that. And you guys go check out her channel, and you can see those videos again on the down in the description. But her channel
you can watch
address
this,
is in the description. Or
you can watch this as a replay.
Yeah,
that's
or you
fine.
watch the replay. Yep.
Hopefully the sound will come through in the replay.
No, I don't think so. Not on that first one. I don't think it will.
Not
but
on that first one.
It came on the second one. It came good. So anyway, again, thanks, Allie, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, regular time tomorrow, and we'll do some more silly stuff. Yeah, bring your re-railer. All right, goodbye.